G'day guys, Mac with yet a circle. Something a little bit different today. I asked myself the question, if I was going to review Games Workshop, namely their premier system, 40k, honestly, what would I say? See, this is actually a really hard question because I have a lot of nostalgia for past editions, and yet they have no bearing on a new player and their perceptions of the system. So with that in mind, let's talk some short, sharp, and simple points about the Warhammer system, and not about Games Workshop and their performance as a company. So, where to start? If you're new to Games Workshop, what does Warhammer have to offer to you? Warhammer 40,000 as a game is probably the most widely seen tabletop system in the world, thanks in large part to their global chain of stores. This is immediately helpful to prospective players as they're able to more easily find the game system, and staff or a community who are willing to help and guide them through it. This is further helped by the fact that, as the biggest system, there is a massive online presence where they can turn to for any advice, be it painting, building, or playing. When buying into the game, they make it very obvious as a company where you should start, with boxed sets aimed at introducing players quickly and efficiently. The game is relatively quick and easy to learn, and compares favourably with other systems on the surface level. However, there's a massive level of depth which can quickly overwhelm any new player. This problem is made worse by the rule system in the background, which we'll get to. Miniatures are released and reworked in such a short time frame that it can be an absolute nightmare to keep track of what is what, or where it stands in the system for the uninitiated. This problem is compounded by the factions which haven't been updated in a long while, and yet also have FAQs online, which must still be downloaded even if you own a digital copy of the rules because they don't get updated for that faction or the game as a whole. This is confusing and may lead to some difficulty in understanding the system for new players. There are also many factions to choose from, which is a good thing. However, all prospective players are naturally guided towards the Space Marines, which is Games Workshop and Warhammer's most instantly recognisable IP. The faction is simply easy to understand, easy to build, easy to paint, and has a massive product line. And that product line is mostly new miniatures, which has even more appeal. They also have a pretty cool and incredibly well fleshed out background, which helps to immerse players into the world of Warhammer. Aside from the Space Marines, there are actually many other factions, with the Adeptus Sororitas and the Necrons being particularly pushed in the current edition of the game. There are numerous special characters which embody the tone and the feel of the particular factions, with the notable exception of the Eldar, whose characters are old enough to actually have kids who are in the hobby themselves now. Speaking of the Eldar, this is where the ease of understanding starts to slip, as many of the remaining factions are light on kits, or rather indistinguishable for the new hobbyist. Using the Eldar as the example, the Eldar, the Harlequins, and the Dark Eldar to an outside person are all very similar, and this may be confusing to a young hobbyist who's looking to invest their money in products that they actually need. They don't want to go buying stuff for the wrong part of their faction. On that point, the game system is concerningly expensive to fresh hobbyists, with many people remarking to me how the price has scared them off from getting into the system. On the plus side, the starter box is incredible value for money depending which one you buy, especially when you compare it to the price of most standard kits, meaning that if you're happy to just dip your toes in, then the basic boxed games may be excellent value for money. Lastly, on the physical product side of things, there are a variety of kits available when it comes to hobby tools, painting, etc., which offer a lot of accessibility, even if they are on the expensive side. Individual paints are also available for purchase, and although it may be considered expensive, for a new player with no background in any tabletop hobby, accessibility more than price is key in this regard. When it comes to gameplay, the game is a relatively middle-of-the-road system. Games Workshop has tried over the last few years to create a system which is relatively easy to understand for new hobbyists, but has a lot of depth that's hidden in plain sight. The system isn't anywhere near as crisp as a system like Bolt Action, but it is leagues above several other game systems. It's firmly in the good category, but calling it anything more than that is a complete stretch. So there you go. That is my review of 40k. If I was going to describe this game system to a new player and sum it up for them, this is how I would do it. It doesn't rely on me to say that Games Workshop is a shonky company and have bad business practice or anything like that. That's completely irrelevant to a person whose perspective wanting to get into this hobby. They want to know, is it something for them, and what are the plus sides and what are the downsides? The big pluses there was a lot of accessibility. The fact that there's stores dotted all around the world means it's a lot easier to get to, potentially find a community and find games you can play, which is something that a lot of other systems lack. But the downside is you pay an incredible amount of money for what you get compared to any other game system, and the way that they handle their rules and such is absolutely terrible compared to other game systems, so that's the trade-off. Anyway, let me know what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? See you all in the comments section. Mac of the Outer Circle. See you all next time.